to Biotechnica. This is Caroline Green from Biotechnica. Today in this video, I'll be talking about the top 10 ways to get a funded PhD abroad. So I'll be talking about what are the ways that you can get a funded PhD position in abroad. When we talk in case of abroad, we know whether you're going to study in the USA or Canada, or whether you're going to study in any of the European countries, or if you're going to study in Australia or wherever it is, we always needed a stipendship, or we can say it's going to be a fellowship or a PhD scholarship is required. But fetching an international fellowship or international scholarship or getting a funded PhD position is always going to be kind of trickier when it comes to Indian students. So how to avail this funded PhD positions abroad is going to be the topic. So come along with me and let's discuss the complete topic in detail. So I'm going to talk about what are the ways that you can get a funded PhD abroad. The first is going to be applying for an advertised fully funded PhD positions. I'll be talking what are the websites that you can go in for and get these PhD fully funded positions available for you. So you can apply. There are some positions which will be advertised all around the year, you can see. So I'm going to list out some of the websites where you can check for the advertised fully funded PhD positions available for life science candidates in different fields. It might be of cancer biology, or it might be on embryology, or it might be of many aspects, bioinformatics or whatever it is. So it will be keep on published, or it will be advertised all around the year. So I'm going to list out some of the website for those who are wishing to apply for an advertised fully funded PhD position. Please do look out to find a PhD website where you can find a lot of PhD opportunities throughout the world. You can find out. So you can go to this website and you can specifically see which PhD fellowship fully funded PhD fellowship available, because in find a PhD you will find partially funded, or sometimes there would be positions available only for UK candidates or US candidates. Sometimes it will be for international candidates. In such cases, looking for fully funded PhD opportunity and you can directly apply. And sometimes there would be a situation like only one position will be available for you where many people has to apply. In such scenarios, there might be a very limited probability of getting this PhD funded positions also, but it's always good enough that you go in for the site and look in for a fully funded PhD position. Sometimes it's very easy enough to get also. The next is Biotechnica always put a lot of notifications that comes on your way, like the PhD notifications from different places, or the scholarship opportunities, or the fellowships that's been coming, the deadlines, everything you can see. And the link for applying will also be provided in Biotechnica website, where you can also check that. The next is going to be Urazex. So here, this is the website. You can find a lot of funded PhD positions available in European countries. So you can definitely go for this one and you can check in. The next is going to be academic positions. Yes. So if you go to this website, here also you'll find a lot of opportunity for PhD. And Nature Careers is for all the positions available abroad. And if you very specifically put the filter to PhD, then you will be redirected to all the job profiles that is available, fully funded job profiles that are available very specifically in different parts. You can see a lot of positions from Germany, France, you will be finding. If you go and check in, you literally know about it. The next is Scholars for Dev. This is the website. So you can go to this website also and you can check in for the fully funded PhD positions. There are some cases there would not be fully funded. Partial fundings are also there, or self-fundeds are there. So look in for the fully funded ones and then you can apply for this one also. The next is going to be Marie Curie Action Fellowship. This is for people who wanted to apply for European countries. Then you can go for this ESR Fellowship. So this is the website where it will be redirecting you to that page and then you can start applying for this one also. The next is going to be PhD Portal. This is another website where you'll find a lot of PhD positions available, but make sure you're looking for the fully funded PhD position. Of course, DART. So if you go to DART website, you will find how to get a PhD positions in Germany, what are the things that you need to submit. So DART scholarship, a prestigious scholarship, you can go in for. The next important thing I'm going to tell you is LinkedIn. So in LinkedIn, if you're going to follow some scientists or some professors in different universities or abroad, in different parts of the countries, if you're going to follow them, they used to put a lot of vacancy available or open positions available in the LinkedIn website itself. So they will ask you to either email them or they'll give you a link to apply for it. So in such cases, you can follow certain universities of your interest, or you can literally get connected with the people whom you are interested. If you would like to work in their laboratory, then you can go for this. Another important thing is websites of all the university. Suppose if you specifically wanted to go for Germany, or if you specifically wanted to go for France or Canada or United States of America, look in for the university and the laboratory that you would like to enter, and accordingly go to the website and look for the spring intake and autumn intake. All these things you can definitely go in for. So this is the website you can literally go in for. So this advertised fully funded PhD positions do not have a deadline. It usually comes all around the year, so you can always look in for the website. Whenever the positions are available, you can start applying for this one. So advertised PhD positions are most commonly seen from these countries like Germany. So if you see, a lot of PI from Germany used to post this PhD positions. Korea, Singapore, Japan, Ireland, Spain, Italy, New Zealand, Poland, France, Austria, Belgium, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland, the Netherlands. So these countries usually post a lot of PhD positions available. You might see USA will not majorly do this advertised PhD positions until and unless it's given by the PI. And it's always good enough when you're going to apply through the advertised PhD positions, because there would be one position available or two positions available, but if you see the number of applicants who are going to apply, it's going to be huge. So what you have to do is, if you are liking the project, go and read the related research paper that's been going on in the laboratory, what type of research that's been going on, so that you can highlight how you can contribute to their research which is actually going on in their laboratory. So this is the first method of applying for a fully funded PhD position, which will be notified in these websites. The second important is open or forced PhD applications. What is this? So this is about you're directly going to contact the supervisor. It's a wonderful way if you have a lot of recommendations, and if you've been following a specific person for so long, then definitely you can go for this. So open or forced PhD application. So what you're going to do is, you're going to email a professor whose research interest matches yours. So for that, what you have to do is go to the university website, look in for the people, and under the people, you can look for the scientists whom you are interested. For different groups will be there, and you can look in for the projects that interest you the most, and you have a little sort of experience in that. And then you can email the professor whose research interest matches you. And while sending, it's not necessary you have to send only to the PI. You can send to the group heads also, and you can send your interest in the form of an email along with your resume, which is personalized resume that you're applying for this position only, and your statement of purpose, or we can call it a cover letter can also be included. You can either include a cover letter, usually a CV with a cover letter, or a CV with a SOP. SOP is mainly demanded when you're going to apply to the university. So this is another way of applying for a fully funded PhD position. You have to look for the research group which has fundings. That's the most important criteria. And then if they have a funding, then definitely you can go for it. As an Indian student, it's very, very tedious for you to go abroad and self-fund yourself and work. So it's always good enough that you look in for the funding and also ensure that the vacancy is available in the lab of your interest also. The third important one is target international PhD program. Okay, so the first, you're directly going to apply through the advertisement that keeps coming or the notification that keeps coming. And the second one is going to be, you're going to email the professor of your interest and you're going to request them. And the third important thing is, you're going to target international PhD programs. So when we talk in case of PhD programs, you should apply for international PhD program. It's kind of competing, but I'm going to list out the PhD in Germany, UK, France, Switzerland. There's a separate video on USA also where you can go and check it out. So PhD in Germany, you can apply IMBS Germany, TUM Germany, IMB Germany, of course EMBL Germany, Helmholtz Germany. So you can apply for these international programs which will be keep coming. So you can apply for this one also. So the next is PhD in United Kingdom. So Wellcome Trust UK, you can definitely go for this international program. Wellcome Trust PhD Studentship, this is very specifically known. MRC, yes, of course, MRC, LMK UK, and CRIC UK, and NDM Oxford UK. There are many international PhD programs which will be coming. I've listed 5 of them. And PhD in France, IGBMC France and ENC France, INSERM France. So these are some of the international PhD programs that you can go for. And the next one is PhD in Switzerland. So you can see this is very specifically for life science candidates. ETH Switzerland, EPFL, and international PhD program in Geneva and Lausanne. So you can go for this PhD program. So I'm just giving you an idea that international programs, through an international program you can start applying. So this international program is definitely going to fund you. Mostly fully funded scholarship only will be there. So you can definitely go for international PhD programs also. The next one is look for PhD scholarship. This I'm going to very specifically going to tell. The first I told you, you're going to apply for advertised fully funded PhD fellowship and you're going to apply it. And the second I told you, you're going to email the professor. This situation, what can happen is sometimes the professor has a fellowship, he's going to fund you. In some cases, the professor or the scientist who is in the laboratory do not have a funding, but you would like to work in the laboratory and there is a call for the PhD program also. So in such cases, you have to look for the scholarship and then only you can join the laboratory. Even though the PI is interested in taking you, if he do not have a funding, then you have to look for the scholarship. So it's always good enough that you apply for a PhD scholarships also. If it's an international PhD program, they will always going to fund you. You don't have to look for scholarship because they themselves going to fund you from the university. So it's not needed, but it's very competing. So look for a PhD scholarships, like we have a separate video on that. So I've listed some of the scholarship like Gates Cambridge Scholarship, Fulbright Scholarship, Dart Scholarship, Japanese MEX Scholarship, Great Scholarship, Chinese Scholarship. There are many scholarship for PhD. So always look for the PhD scholarship and then you can avail the scholarship. If you have this scholarship, then you can tell the professor you have got this funding and you can join the laboratory. It's always good enough to go over there and work over there, and it's always a privilege that you gained your own scholarship. That's always a very good thing. The next way that you can get a fully funded scholarship is networking. Of course, networking always helps when we talk in case of PhD or postdoctoral positions. Even masters, you directly apply to the university. If you clear well, you can easily enter there. But in PhD, it goes through different scenarios. You need to have exams. You need to apply to the university. You need to approach the PI. You need to get a scholarship. And you have to think about the funding in the specific city where you're going to live. Accordingly, only you can decide and you can move in. So networking always helps. This I'm going to tell you. Suppose if any of your friends or your fellows or your colleagues or your anybody whom you know, your seniors or whoever it is, if you find them working in a different laboratory in a reputed institution, it's always good enough to contact them through your LinkedIn. So when you're going to contact them, they're going to give you a suggestion of how they applied and what are the steps that they took to apply to and how they got the fellowship. So they might have either applied to the professor and they might have availed the scholarship and went, or they might have applied through the international PhD programs and they might have gone. So they'll give you an idea if you've been redirected to go to the same university of your same interest. In such cases, networking always helps. And the second important thing about networking is you can get connected with a lot of professors whom you are really interested in their projects. So it's very easy enough rather than getting into an email and then mailing them and getting, because usually if you're going to mail some 50, 60, 70, 80 times, you're going to get a reply of almost 5-6 times. So it's obvious you would get a lot of rejections because they do not have a lot of time to reply to all those mails. So, but in LinkedIn, what happens is you can easily get connected to people. So getting connected with people becomes very easy. So networking will definitely help, whether it comes to seniors or your friends or the professors or even your professors in India. Definitely gonna work out. Through this also you can get a PhD, fully funded PhD. If you can see, some of the professors who in India has gone abroad and worked over there, they might have friends. So they can actually connect to the people so that you can easily get a PhD fellowship also. So this is another way of getting a fully funded PhD abroad also. The next one is documents and exams are really, really important wherever you go in for in any part of the world. These are very, very important. So I'm going to tell you through this only you can literally apply for all this way. First, you need to have your bachelor's, your master's study, and it need to be an excellent track records. And definitely an excellent recommendation letter has to be a must. And GRE, I'm going to tell you, is this GRE examination is not for all the university. Very specifically, certain university ask for GRE. When we talk in case of National University of Singapore, they ask for GRE or they ask for GATE examinations. So Indian candidates can definitely target National University of Singapore. So GRE, and it's very, very important wherever you go for, it's mandatory. You need to have IELTS or TOEFL examinations. So IELTS, usually if you're going to have 7 to 7.5 band, it's very, very good enough to go in for. TOEFL, if you're going to have 100 plus marks, then it's always good to go in for this one also. And the most important thing if you're going to go in for PhD is you need to have an extensive research experience. So we used to see a lot of students who will be coming and telling that I've been looking for a PhD position abroad, but they'll be keep on researching about this one. But I would suggest that when you are in the way of researching about the PhD fellowship and all those things, it's always good enough that you take up some project like project assistant positions or junior research fellowship, or in a laboratory you're going to work. So this can help you to enhance your research experience also, because when you're sitting and applying for 1 year for this one, you would tremendously forget many of the experiments that you have done in the laboratory, so which might make you a bit lagging behind the other people when you're going for interview. So it's always important that you upskill yourself also. So always have an extensive research experience, very specifically when you go in for PhD. And it's always good that you have almost 1 to 2 quality publications. So it has to be a PubMed index one, and you can have an impact factor at least 2.5 or an impact factor with at least 2.5 if you're going to go in for. Then it's very, very good enough that you can easily fetch a PhD positions abroad. This documents is available and you need to be applying in any of the ways that you're going to apply for. These documents are really, really important. GRE is very, very, I would not say it's mandatory. In some cases they would ask for. The next important thing is going to be the tips to avail a fully funded PhD. Yes, of course, we know you are going to go for some 3-4 different ways of approaching a scientist, 5 different ways I told you, and how you can avail this fully funded PhD abroad. First thing is motivation to engage in PhD research. We used to find a lot of people when they are applying for PhD opportunities, they used to demotivate themselves because they will not get a result from the scientists whom they have applied or the professors whom they have applied, because there might be a rejections. But you need to keep on applying. If you're going to apply for 50-60 professors, then only you will be getting almost 1 to 5 reply from them, because not all will be replying you back again, because they used to get a lot of emails. So you need to have a very strong motivation to keep searching and then pursuing your PhD research. And very, very important is do check for the lab profiles. Very specifically, I have written previous publications, funding opportunity. Very important is funding, because you're going to be an international student, will be going and working over there. So funding is major important thing. And any links, if they're going to have any collaborations with pharma or biotech companies, and also looking for the previous PhD scholars, where they are, and the alumnus, so that you will get to know the previous person whom they have worked for and where they have landed up now, so that you will have an idea even after finishing this where you will land up. And start building your skills and research profiles based on your research interest. This I already told you, because you're applying for a research position. And this is very important. Do check beforehand if the amount of the scholarship is good enough. This is very important, because whether you go for international PhD program and you got selected, or you're applying for a scholarship, or the PI is going to fund you, or you got something through your networking thing, whatever it is the scholarship is enough for you to stay in the area where you're going to stay, because it depends on the city that you're going to live. The standard of living is going to be varying according to the city. So look in for the scholarship amount also. And always look for an excellent lab group. It doesn't matter mostly the university. Most probably we have an assumption that if I go to this university only, I can land up in a good position. It doesn't matter. So sometimes what happens is university need not to be very, very great enough. I'm talking about the public and the government universities. So then you need to see for the excellent lab group, very important lab group, and a very, very supportive supervisor, because your supervisor is the one who actually helps you in growing up even after your PhD. So always look for an excellent lab group of your interest and a very, very supportive supervisor. And you can also consult with the previous seniors who have worked in the laboratory and get to know about how things works over there. And the most important thing, while you are in the search of your PhD fellowships or your scholarship, hard work really pays off if you're going to be very, very consistent enough. So these are some of the tips that you can avail a fully funded PhD. And how you can apply through advertised PhD program. As I already told you, networking will help you. And the second thing is, you're going to apply through advertised PhD in the websites. And the second one, I told you can apply for the international PhD programs, and you can apply for scholarships also. So how this actually works, you go through the website that I've listed, and you will be applying either through the email. Sometimes it will be fully funded PhD, just email the professor so and so. Sometimes it will be a link where you'll be redirected back and you'll be applying over there. And after, if you get selected, because sometimes this advertised PhD positions will be limited, so sometimes you might select it, sometimes you might not select it. So if you're selected, you will be called for the interview either by online or you'll be going offline. And then after this only you'll be applying to the university, because the PI will recommend you to apply to the university, and it's very easy enough to get all those things. The second important step is while applying through international PhD programs. So this works different way. It just goes opposite. So you'll be applying to the university by submitting all your transcripts, your documents, everything. And this will be analyzed. Screening will happen. And sometimes in case of US or some part of the university, if you're looking for, they used to forward the application to the PI whether he is interested to take you. And after that, if you got selected during the screening of your application, then you will be called for the interview. And if you get selected in the interview, then you can avail the PhD funded fellowship through the international program. This is also applicable. And the last one is, as I already told you, approach the PI always before applying to the university. Whatever you go in for, if you wanted to go in for the research interest or the research of your interest to a very specific person, whether you go through directly by university or you go through the PI or whether you go through any way, it's always good enough that you approach the PI that you are trying to apply for the PhD position in the university, very specifically in the laboratory. This is the most important thing, because when you need to tell them that you are more interested in the laboratory, actually you're convincing them that you are fit enough for the position. So this is what you're going to do when you're going to apply and avail a fully funded PhD program. So today I've been talking about how you can avail the fully funded PhD. What are the ways that you can apply? I've been talking about the advertised method or open positions or forced positions, how you can target PhD position and PhD scholarship, and how networking actually helps, and what are the tips and how you can apply everything in detail. If you have any doubts regarding this one, you're always welcome to put it in the comment section. So we will get back to you after seeing your comments, or we'll come up with a very fresh video that will be really, really helpful for all of you. Thank you all of you for your time.